Hello and welcome to this new episode of us building Pairi Daiza. Today in episode 11 we will be building the interior of the Nautilus, the castle which we built the exterior for in episode 10. So if you haven't seen that already, be sure to check that out first. And then let's get into the interior building. So as always I will be showing this as a speed build, but since it has taken me about 8 hours to make, I couldn't really show you everything I built, or at least I couldn't show you the speed build of everything I built, so I show you parts of what I've built in a speed build version, and then afterwards we'll take a full tour at the end of the video through all we've built, and then you can basically see everything. I try to show you a bit of everything in the speed build, so both just building the general layout and one aquarium and stuff like that, and one exhibit. So you had a bit of a sense of how I built everything, and then the rest was just a bit of it was a bit of the same. So it doesn't really matter that I couldn't show you everything I built, since as I said, it took me about 8 or 9 hours to build, so I couldn't get everything into this one video. It still takes me quite a long time to build, especially with my, I think it's broken finger. I haven't gone through any scans or anything yet. So my girlfriend doesn't allow me to say it is broken, since we don't know that, but I think it is, or at least a crack in there or so. So it takes me quite a little longer to build, since it's an awkward position for my hand to rest in while I'm building. So it takes me a little longer, and everything goes a little bit slower. But that said, let's get into the building area of this video, or the building part of this video, in which we'll first just focus a little bit on building the restroom at the side of the building, and then moving on to the staff rooms over there as well. And to get an idea of where everything was in this building, I just want to give a quick shout out to my Discord, in which some people have shared some photos and plans of how the building, or what the building looks like. I think it was like a fire escape plan, in which every room was mentioned what it was, so people could orientate themselves. And I used this for the basic layout. Of course I didn't use the complete layout, because that just wouldn't work out with how wide the walls are and stuff like that. So I took the basic structure of the plans I had for example, this restroom and some staff areas in this area of the building, but then I went off on a little bit of a separate route for the rest of the building, since I didn't want to spend ages on just trying to get it exactly right on the interior, which you wouldn't even notice while walking through it. So I just tried to get it as best as possible, or at least for the major areas. And then for the rest of it, I just went with my own feeling and what went best for plan 2, because I can try to make it as perfect as it can correspond to the real life. But of course, one, that might not look very good in plan 2, and 2, it would take so much time to get it really properly done. So I just went for what I felt would be all right and would be fine to work with. So I think I almost finished with this outer area, so people can access this area to get to the restroom. But I think the rest of it, I think both the stairs can't be accessed by guests. I think that's just for staff to get downstairs. I think the guests are only supposed to enter this building through the front and exit through the left. So this area, I don't think I'm gonna wall it off or rope it off in plan 2. But it's just a side note that this is not the entrance of the building. The entrance of the building is only in the front area. So for this build, you'll see me use a lot of items from the workshop, because there's so much good stuff on there that I wanted to use, and it just took so much time that I would have had to use so much more time to just create this all myself. So copying this from the workshop didn't feel like I wouldn't have created this whole building myself just because I stole some parts of the workshop. But I mean, the workshop is there to use. Usually I don't really want to, because it's just I want to create most of it myself. But if there are some things that just can save me so much time that look awesome to use, then absolutely I will do it. And then for the rest of it, I just want to create most of it myself. For example, I used some aquariums and some fishes from the workshop, but then I always change them up a little bit, especially the aquariums. I think I like copied one and used one from the workshop, and then I just like the new aquariums were just built off of that same vibe, so all the aquariums would look roughly the same, but I had an idea to go off of and to just keep going from that, and it would all look almost the same. So for example, this aquarium is just custom built, I think, for the most part, but of course there are some ideas that I will steal from the aquarium you saw in episode 10. That one is completely copied from the workshop with some little tweaks of myself, but just making this custom, it's absolutely fun to do, and I really love it, and I'm happy the way it turned out. And I think I have 4 or 5 aquariums right now, and they don't look all the same, which is absolutely great to have. And of course, we still don't have any fish in the game, so that's all workshop pieces as well. I haven't made any custom fish in the game, or any like turtles or anything, because they're just some like fun small fish in the workshop, and I love to use these, as I don't think, like, especially the small fish. Of course, the big fish you can make them yourself, and there's some special things to be made. But I think for the small fish, like, they are already so small, so I don't think that it's really worth the time to create another small fish that might look like a little bit different if there are about like 10 or 15 different small fish in the workshop already. So I couldn't really bring myself to make another small fish customly while there are so many examples on the workshop. I will link some fish on the description below as well from the workshop. Just if you ever make an aquarium, be sure to use these. You've got 2D fishes like these ones, and you've got 3D fishes as well, which look, I think, like the 3D fishes look a little bit better than these do, of course, but these, I mean, they're just something different. Again, that if you walk through this area, that it's not constantly like the exact same thing, which I didn't really want to have either. So that's what I did, and I hope you guys like it. So right now there's of course some staff areas with some electricity that like need to be maintained. Usually, while like these small spaces, there are some small spaces in this building just to like make corridors that make sense and stuff like that. And I didn't really want to leave them empty, so I just filled them with like some electricity cabinets and stuff like that, so it all would look a little more natural, and you wouldn't have these empty like dead spaces without anything in it. So that's, I mean, I kind of like filling up these small nooks and crannies that you can find throughout this building. So let's move on to the next area. And for this area, I just should quickly explain what this building is about. So this building houses about 2,000 of the 7,000 animals that Pairi Daiza has. And that is, I think it's just all fish, or at least all marine animals, because they have some turtles and some tortoises as well and stuff like that. So this castle is just a big house for all marine life that Pairi Daiza has, and it's absolutely stunning to see. And if you ever get the chance, do take a tour around that building. It is absolutely beautiful. So marine life is of course what I focus on in this Planet Zoo build as well. The only issue of course with this is that Planet Zoo doesn't have any fish or any like mechanism to get water in like above ground, because there is no like terrain under this roof on the first floor. So to build an aquarium, what I needed to do was just build an aquarium on the bottom floor and then just raise it up to the top floor as well. So you'd always have, if you have an aquarium on the top side, you would also have the same aquarium on the bottom side. And I just like put some roof or some floor beneath them, and then maybe some rocks to not make it just a wood floor or a wood roof, and to make it look more natural. But the only the issue with that, of course, is that you can't. What I wanted to make was, for example, like a pit for some crocodiles to be in, or some small tortoises or turtles. But of course that wouldn't work, because you couldn't. I couldn't just make a complete barrier on the first floor. I needed to make it on the ground floor being an aquarium, and then on the top floor being like the same thing. And that has its own separate issues that I think it's about a meter or a meter and a half that there needs to be clear space, so you can't just fill up water to the brink of the habitat, or the barrier. So you always have that 1.5 meter space, or maybe 1 meter, which is really a pity, because in Pairi Daiza there is, I think it's like a petting, or you're supposed to be able to touch the fish or touch the turtles or something. It's just a very small basin where you can, like, even small children can just look over it and see the fish swimming there, or I'm not sure if it's fish or what marine animals are there, but it's a really nice place to look. And it's just, I wanted to make this in Planet Zoo as well, which you will see in the end tour. And what I ended up doing is I made it on the ground floor, and I just made it the smallest height it could be, by making just a hole in the ground, and then like having, I think the least amount of space for a barrier need, or height for a barrier need, is 2 meters. So I just lowered the ground a little bit. I still had that floor over it, so you wouldn't see it anyways. But then the issue, of course, was that you needed that 1.5 meter space. So I made a raised floor, so you'd kind of get on the outside. You would be on the top of that barrier, so you'd still be able to see that down to the fish. But of course, you wouldn't be able to touch them because the water wouldn't reach as high, which doesn't have anything to do with what I'm building right now, but that doesn't really matter. I just wanted to let you know what the difficulties in this build were, and that Planet Zoo isn't it's not gonna be looking exactly like it is in real life. Of course, I tried my best to get everything as real life as possible by, for example, adding these references to the Nautilus, because the Nautilus, what it is in real life, or what it has, is a lot of references to, I think it's called 20,000 miles under the sea. So it's decorated as I think it's a submersible or something. I haven't read the book, or I don't really know the story, but it's supposed to be a submersible, I think. And there's just, for example, you have the sleeping room of the captain and stuff like that are in Pairi Daiza in real life. So I tried to recreate that, not necessarily the sleeping room itself, but for example, I just made this dining table with a few closets, and then I made an open, what's it called, not a furnace, but just a small in-house fire, a fireplace, of course. I'm being an idiot. And then what I did is add, for example, these pipes, for example, which might be in the submersible. And then on another area I made like a little maintenance part, which has some computer screens with which would be awesome to be customizable, but I just made them in some colors, because Planet Zoo doesn't have the thing of Planet Coaster where you can upload your own images to a screen or to a billboard. So I just used some screens with colors to resemble that. And then I just I tried to get some references of the real life building with the references to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I think turned out, for this first floor, which I think turned out quite nice. And I'm just gonna continue doing that on the bottom floor as well. So I'm probably gonna upload a bottom floor episode on Wednesday, just to just a small episode with a tour through the bottom floor, and maybe through the whole building. But I'm probably not gonna be uploading the build process, because that just takes way too much time to. At first you need all the time to build it, and then afterwards, during the editing, I need to go through everything again to see what is interesting and what is not interesting. So it just takes so much time that I'm just gonna do a little small video, maybe 3 minutes or 4 minutes tops, just walking through this building and just quickly focusing on everything I've built, and explaining a little bit of what I did in more detail, just so you guys have an idea of how I built it. Because I've had a few people ask me, I'm just starting up with Planet Zoo, and I'm not really I don't really know how to build, or how to just try to start building something and try to make it look pretty. So if you're new to Planet Zoo, you can always ask me questions in Discord or via email as well. And this zoo is always on the workshop as well. You can download it there and just have a look around yourself, and see, like, if you wanted to build the Oasis, for example, you can always just go and check that out. I'm not making any issues out of that, or anyone like using the things I built. Like, you can always ask me for advice, or anyone really that is. There's so many nice Discords and nice people to talk to in the Planet Zoo community, and they will always be glad to help. Both in my Discord as other Discords I know from other like Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster creators, because usually like Planet Coaster creators will absolutely be able to help you with Planet Zoo as well, because there are a lot of similarities between the game, and most questions you have will be able to be answered by some Planet Coaster creators as well. So this is almost the end of the video. As I said, I didn't want to show you everything in the time-lapse mode, but we're just gonna go through what we've built right now. So I quickly explain what I built. This was then the dining room, and you see a lot of exhibits through here. And then we've got our first aquarium right here, which, like, I made these little submersible windows, which I really like. And then this is the curiosities cabinet. So it's just like, it's a cabinet with stuff discovered by people, like, which would be said in the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But it's a lot of real life discoveries, and it's really awesome to look at. It's old coins, old skeletons, stuff like that. A lot of really fun stuff to see. And then this is my take on the touching basin. You can always just pause the video and just check what it looks like in Planet Zoo. And of course, you can also download the entire zoo, which I uploaded to the workshop already, and which I'll be updating constantly. And this building will be added to the workshop as well once it's completely finished. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. If you liked the video, please do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, everyone, and bye.